I have come to embrace a Zen-like detachment. Victory and defeat, success and failure, these are transient states. What remains is the profound understanding of struggle, the beauty and persistence, and the subtle art of finding meaning in the seemingly meaningless. And here we are on Smite 1, a relic of the ancient past, a city, a metropolis of what once was a bustling city of a game that held upwards of 40 people at a time. And here we are at the predecessor, the past, and the previous of the installment of Smite 2, playing Smite 1, and we are here on the existential journey of answering one simple question. Is there joy to be found in Smite 1 Ranked? This is episode 2. We are playing some tier support, of course, as we are going to be switching stances, switching sides, and trying to find anything to help us solve this dilemma. And here we are. It feels weird to be back. It's been 3 weeks since having reached this amazing game, and obviously our last experience was cut short due to the unfortunate surrender. And the duo lane is not here. It feels thematic almost to see people coming late in a game that's had the same start for 3 years, as if there's still something deeper to unpack, something deeper to excavate. I am an archaeologist when it comes to this game, exploring something that has long since been ruined, that is old, that has cracked through time, and such our build will reflect it. We will dash forward and attack the very sentient Xbalanque before turning around and switching to the Sobek. There's a certain grace I find in playing a game like Smite 1. A grace that I think Smite 2 doesn't have, a charm in which you see Smite 2 players come back to Smite 1 and get first blooded by people who've never left the game. There's a level of humbleness that I feel like I take upon queuing this match, and a certain level of tension, stress, and execution still remembered in my mind, despite not having played for so long. We'll go on the Xbalanque now and see what we can do against him, but I fear that I will lose a teammate along the way. And this is the big question, I think, when it comes to Smite 1. Joy. How do you find it when you're losing so frequently? Do you need to win to find joy? Keipu Lee takes down Percival 4-5-4-6-4-7, and that answer becomes even more convoluted and complex as a loss seems likely within 2 minutes of playing the match. We do get out by the skin of our teeth, but that question stands. So I'm going to ask that to you guys, and I want to know what you guys think about that. Do you need to win to find joy? And if such, can I only find joy in victory? You know, our last match that we played, only 12 minutes long, I found to be rather inconclusive. I've lost 2 waves in this match, and my game state's very bad, but we could still win. So, you know, is there something to be said about that? Is there something to unpack? I think it's very important that in this journey, in this escapade from normalcy and normality, that we do everything we can to get a varied range of experiences. The best, the worst, and something muddled in the middle. And right now we're trying to figure out, is this going to be a great experience, a bad experience, or an incredible one? And so far, with some typing happening from the Sun Wukong, who then says later, then continues to play, it seems like we might be getting all in one. Different than Smite 2. I'm here also to answer a couple of other questions. When it comes to the game of Smite 1, I've heard many people admonish about the fact that this game is better than Smite 2. And I want to see if that answer is true. I want to see if, as I walk around this very visually appealing, graphically modern map, if I can feel the same joy that so many have seemed to find. I want to see if when I press my ping and I see 44, the lowest this game has to offer, if I feel like that's too low, or if that's just perfectly right. Jolliver falls down in mid, but that's okay. I will carry. Because I still am a winner, even in the face of a loss. Xbalanque gets ulted after, and he falls! OG Woody down. Lurking in the waters is the Sobek, and this is something interesting about Smite 1 and Smite 2. It feels like I've been stuck in a dream. A dream that might even be a nightmare with Amaterasu included, where I am misremembering and thinking of characters differently than how they actually play in the modern installment of Smite. I'm seeing the Sobek, and I'm fearing for my life in that situation, fearing that the Sobeximacute will come out. And yet it cannot, because in Smite 1, the Sobeximacute doesn't exist. Isn't that a weird contrast to play a game, to remember things, and then misremember them, saying, wow, I'm under a threat that does not exist? It's sort of a parallel universe, almost, in which Smite 1 still continues, as these people are still here to play. It was a 4-minute queue, and I got into a game, and everything has kind of been frozen, standing still in time with no change to be said. The Xbalanque, incredible reaction time, better than most Obsidian players, and it makes me wonder if these gamers were to head onto the battlegrounds, the modern ones, what would they become? Would they be the next pros? My intuition tells me yes, but still, I hesitate. We'll keep doing our buffs together, grouping up, and figuring out how the game that was Smite 1 came to what is to be Smite 2. There's a lot different that you can notice when you play. Grouping of buffs that happen at level 1 all the way until the middle game and the late game. Oleruns that get chased down by a Sobek in the jungle, a god that doesn't even exist in Smite 2. A laning phase that actually lasts for a while, and junglers that don't one-shot everybody at level 2. It's very different and yet very familiar all at the same time. I did a series on this game, an A to Z series, and in playing this, I almost wonder, should I do a Z to A? Right now on Smite 1. All 130 characters. Should we experience this absolute beauty of a game one more time for another 130 days? And at the end of it, let's see what's left. Is there anything left? I mean, are these even players, or is this just a lobby full of AI? You know, there have been speculations that Smite 2 is slowly adding more and more advanced AI into the game, and with that happening, you know, who knows what's going to happen with the climate of that game. There's been hacking and cheating in Smite 1 even, my beautiful game, coming to fruition where there's gold glitches where people have 20,000 gold at 5 minutes in a conquest match. I don't know how to do it, but I worry for the future of this extremely relevant, topical game. We get a kill on the Xbalanque. We have to peel out our Oleron. He can't die again. Agni rotation. He's losing farm from mid. Kibo bricks the 3, but he hits the 1. The stun from the Lawbringer is good. Auto attacks are strong. We can switch stances to peel, but he knock-up immunes it with his 3. Another auto attack is needed for the Thor to fall down. Kibo is going to get it, and I'm going to have to back up. It's going to be a huge trade. 7 to 12 at 8 minutes. We are down 1,400 as a team, but the game is not over. 203 on the tier. And I have not missed a step. Joy so far has been found. Sobek plucks. I can't kill him. I hit him for 27. But that's okay. And, you know, I think something that I'm finding as I play this game and as I play this role is really how interesting and how exciting the pacing is. And how circumstantial and really consequential the match is. Let me give an example. When I was in that fight, my health was okay, but there was something else that I had to pay attention for. It was mana. I've never had to do that in Smite 2. And you almost wonder that in a modernization of a game, how does it become more simple in so many ways? It's definitely something interesting. You think of a sequel, and you think of it as being more complex, a level up, a step forward. And yet, in some ways, the game has kind of gone backwards, right? We see mana not mattering. We see laning phase barely mattering. And you wonder, is that better? And, you know, I guess naturally, like, in lieu of answering our question on these wonderful cues, you know, does the laning phase bring joy? Like, is that what the joy is? If there is joy to be found in Smite 1, is it the laning phase? Or is it the team fights? I guess we're going to have to find out. I think something that's important is, you know, in this midst of me talking up a storm, trying to answer these passionate philosophical questions, is we need to spend some time to be quiet and just observe. Observe what happens in the inner workings of this game when I am less involved. So we're going to try to do that here. I'm going to simply gank left lane, the solo lane here, the role that I know most fervently, most well. And we'll just see what happens. Okay, let's go. Beautiful. Beautiful. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm interrupting it practically. I'm interrupting the moment practically, but I mean, that was just incredible to watch. You know, a tree in the world that I know, when it gets cut down, stays still before it topples over. And this Sylvanas, perfectly like the actual natural caricature, stays still and then gets chopped down. It's very interesting how that works. It feels like in Smite becoming something antiquated, something in the past, it seems that even the players follow the tradition of the world that it now is slowly becoming. We're going to gank right and observe and see what happens again. The Thor is walking forward. Absolutely beautiful. I have to try to peel him now. The Oleron cannot die again. He's going to die again. Oh, but the shell is pretty good, but it's not enough. The slowing from the Oleron is so powerful. Is this going to be enough to stop him? He's going to be able to get a kill back anyways. Very unfortunate. A little bit of a misplay for me. And it just shows the players on this game are absolutely in when it comes to hitting their stuff, except for me. Can blink on him, knock him back. Do we have follow-up? I can auto-attack him. I can't. I will continue to tank for you. Good job. Well done. You know, I think maybe something that we could do, right? Something that we could do to continue to take the voice a little bit away from me, because I'm getting tired, right? Is we can just ask. We can ask the players ourselves. So, my fellow gentlemen and gentle women, just in case, right? Why are we frequenting of the gods today? Why are we frequenting the battleground of the gods today? I think this is a good question, right? It's very open-ended. I'm not talking to anyone specifically. I don't feel like anybody's called out, and we'll see if anybody replies to me, or if, you know, everybody is so absorbed in nostalgia, memory. Wow. This is the best game. But why? So Oleron Sunday says to feel something, and this is the best game. You know, we allowed the question to be open so that we could find some answers, and Sunday says clinging to nostalgia. He saw Zatman get a pentakill. Wow. I mean, that's a very... That screams a very self-aware player, man. I mean, the ability to discern that he's here for nostalgia, recall a memory, that's some impressive stuff. I would think most people would be unable to do something like that. That's very incredible. I mean, really a special game here. I want to... Is it better than Smite 2? Let's ask. I think this is a good question. Yes? Smite 2 is boof. Okay. So, this is something that I think is interesting to ask as we're here. You know, what does boof mean? Actually, in fact, let's play with it. Why is it boof? Why is it boof? Yes. Okay. Perfect. Why am I on it? Oh, he's changing the topic. Uh-oh. Maybe he's just being polite. I have to be careful. Oh, Jolliver falls down. You a high-risk plant? Paranoia and suspicion is quickly rising in the Smite 1 nostalgiacs. We have to be careful. I am seeking joy and wondering if it exists in Smite 1. Does it? We have to ask the question so that we do not become the interviewed. It does exist. So we have someone who claims to be of similar ilk here, but he's also a believer that Smite 2 is boof, which I'm trying to figure out what that means and why exactly it is boof. We're going to try to save the Hunbats, who does end up getting peeled out due to our superb tier gameplay. We can dash to this guy and then follow him as we have a lot of damage. The pre-Aegis to no abilities is always very talented, while we can ultimate him and then 2, so he falls down. 203 gold acquired. We go for the Sobek. He doesn't have Sobexim acute, and he falls down as well. But we're going to re-ask the question, why is Smite 2 boof? We're going to knock back this. I mean, this is just excellent. Notice how the Pyromancer, we don't even see its health, so we just guess off the bar. Aladdin is a bad god. Very interesting. UI is BD. Okay. I too dislike when the UI is BD and no West server. Ah, I see. But this is East Coast. We're playing on East Coast. So this is not the West Coast server. Dang. So it seems like for this player who says that the UI is BD, oh wow. We have to peel our Kibo. Damn, what a talented Thor play. Let's see if we can still catch him. What is this movement speed? Beautiful play. I mean, that was just incredible. Well done. Aw, too bad. So yeah, he says the game is BD, which I'm trying to learn, or the UI is BD, but no West server. So, perhaps, right, there is some joy in relation to the server. So, like, for example, because he has the option of 2 servers, there's some joy there, right? I think there's definitely some merit to that. I mean, if you're gonna play on ping, it should be by choice, right? Not by necessity. And that's one of the things with Smite 2 that's very interesting. You would assume in an updated version the servers would be good. They're not really. And so I suppose there is a certain joy to be found in the fact that you have variety, even if the variety does stink in Smite 1. Where in Smite 2 you have no variety and it stinks. It's sort of like going to a... Well, I don't really want to say a restaurant, because normally you'd assume restaurants have good food, but I guess imagine for a moment a restaurant where all the options were bad. Would you rather just one bad option or a multitude of bad options so you could at least feel the, the difference, right? Feel the dissonance, really, if it's all bad, and kind of appreciate the art it takes to have multiple tragedies at once rather than just a single one. Yeah, I find it interesting. I mean, I definitely think there's something to be said about, maybe it's actually good for multiple bad servers to exist rather than just one. It keeps the illusion of hope alive longer. Is that what it is, though? Is it just that Smite 1 has more hope? I don't know if that's true. I mean, does it? I guess that's something we're going to have to ask for next video to the next player we talk to. I've gotten everything I need from this solo run. This Hunbats is very focused on winning, or I would talk to him. We lose Sunday, we lose the Hunbats, so I'm going to have to back away here. Obviously, we have a match here we need to win, so It's of utmost importance that we put together a monstrous showing in an effort to win this match. So what do I build? I haven't played this game in so long. We're going to go with an item that doesn't even exist in Smite 2. It's called Manticore Spikes. Manticore Spikes does not exist in Smite 2 because, well, I don't know, a lot of items don't exist. And I wonder maybe if... I find something pretty interesting here. My build basically consists of items that are kind of in Smite 2, but not really, or like not in Smite 2 at all. I mean, Relic Dagger, this item can never exist because it's for multiple relics and there's only one in Smite. It's very interesting how it works out. In a game where there's all of these new items and things, so many of the old ones never even made it over. We catch the Agni's Dash, I mean, that's just beautiful gaming right there. Double knockback pull. The Agni falls down. Percival 4-5-4, 6-4-7 gets a fantastic kill, and we scoop up another one. We can keep going here and probably even have ourselves really a monstrous fight. We're gonna have to wait for his hammer, and then we knock him up. Wow, he's too quick. Holy shit. Why is he so fast? My gosh. You know, something I will say that's definitely interesting about this game is when I press tab, I feel like I have to lean forward very, very far to just look at these numbers. The font is like 4. You know, like 11,900 gold. Maybe my eyes are just deceiving me after staring at Unreal Engine 5 for a little bit too long. But, geez, this really does seem far away. It seems like you have to squint. You have to look close, lean in, and really, really read to understand what you're dealing with. And maybe that's part of the intrigue with this game, right? Is there something beyond the surface that I'm missing? And the more I play it, I feel like there's a certain charm that this game has that I just don't think Smite 2 really is all the way with. You know, this game is stable. It's pretty quiet. There's a lot of action and buzz going on, but I don't really feel like I'm too caught up in it, right? We're just sort of walking around very serenely, very calmly, and there's a chaos in the fact that there's 52 kills in 21 minutes, but I kind of don't feel a part of it, despite me mostly being in these fights. So it's not like I'm just dodging them necessarily. I mean, I'm not always in the best spot, but I'm fairly involved. I would argue more involved than I might even be in Smite 2, and I still don't really feel the chaos, right? Well, what's happening here, though? I mean, this is not chaos. This is just a lot. Damn. They're all very fast. I can't really hit people. Nice. Oh my gosh, that was just incredibly well done. And he's dead. Wow. I mean, what gaming? Can we help? Seems like these players are a little bit too tanky with sustain. However, something that I think is really cool that Smite 1 did that Smite 2 like doesn't have, but I think it's a really, you know, just to move away for a second, some balance suggestion. I'm always here, obviously, to try to find ways that we can improve, you know, Smite 2. This game has a really cool stat, okay? And I've never heard of it before in a MOBA. I find it really interesting. Let me show you one of the items. This one right here. So this is called Yogi's Necklace in Smite 2. But in Smite 1, enemy... Sorry, this is like hard to understand. Enemy gods within 55 units have their healing reduced by 25%. This does not stack with similar auras, so I guess that implies that there's multiple of these such items. And it also has a passive on top of that. Enemies that successfully damage you have their healing reduced for an additional 5% for 3 seconds. So I don't actually know what like healing reduced actually means or like what that looks like, but it just sounds really cool. And I've never seen that in Smite 2, so I just wonder like, you know, is that something that can come over? I think it'd be really cool, right? You know, I know there were ideas of like anti-heal in Smite 2, but you know, it kind of got shot down, so definitely a really fascinating novel idea, new to gaming. I've never heard of it, so you know, hopefully such a freaking revolutionary concept can make it to that game. We're gonna look for a stun here. You know, CC is very useful, and I don't actually find too much with it. You know, it seems like this is, wow, incredible Sun Wukong gaming. Damn. We have to group up together, guys, or else we might lose. Shoot, 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 shoot. I got his beads. Incredible damage. I'm on cooldowns. I got him. That was quite good. Manu says group, please. So he is sentient. He does talk. He just doesn't want to talk to me. I mean, I'm trying not to take it personal, but that does hurt a little bit. I won't lie. We'll take a reset here. And yeah, we are full build now. So what Manticore Spikes does is when we hit an enemy god with hard crowd control, they drop spikes. And we can pick these spikes up, and then basically our next auto attack or damaging ability does extra damage based on a proportion of our health. So it's pretty cool. It's sort of like a built-in enhanced ability upon after CCing someone. I don't really know how well it would work in Smite 2, just because it was kind of one of those items in Smite 1 that was either really good or really bad, and right now it's kind of on the bad side, but it does sort of work with tier because it has so much CC. So I just like picked up a spike, for example, and you know we can one this guy or get CC'd away, and it's generally pretty cool. So I don't know. I mean, it's worth a thought of, like, you know, wondering. I like the fact that it's purple. It's a very nice color. This build, you know, it's very, I think, visually complex, and I feel like a lot of Smite 1 builds have that, where there's so many different colors and so much going on with the build, where so much of Smite 2, I feel like, you know, everything is kind of blue or, you know, red or like a type of, I guess, orangish for the jungle items, and they're very, like, thematically and consistent color-wise, and I wonder, like, you know, if that kind of variety is going to come back to Smite 2 eventually. Probably will. We have a player speaking about you can pick up beads at level 12. Interesting. That is pretty revolutionary. I'm not exactly sure what he's talking about, but very unique, I suppose. What do we want to do here? I guess reset. Yeah, we should reset. I will say, I feel like... Oh, we got a proximity ward. These are, like, relics. Holy crap, I can't believe I just built one of these. I will say, it's very interesting, the sieging in this game. It is very hard to actually crack a base. The Titans are extremely tanky. Not Titans, excuse me. The Fire Giants are extremely tanky. The Oni Furies and the Gold Furies in general are just really weak. And your game state ends up being extremely hard to actually siege with. So one thing that I definitely think Smite 2 has that's great for it is this ability to siege quite easily with Primal Furies and stuff. I think that's definitely a glimpse of developmental genius, so to speak. But yeah, I mean, it's just absolutely different. You know, they walk up, they kind of just die, and everything sort of falls apart for them. Wow, I mean, I think I was really expecting this game to be horrifically long, and it looks like it's just not going to be. We get a lot of picks there, just the tanks are up, Oleron is healthy, and I mean, this absolutely looks like it can be, as the tree is doing a lot of damage here, so we have to be a little bit careful. This is just looking like it can just be the end of the match, practically. Not quite, but we'll get a mid-Phoenix, and Fire Waves are obviously a big problem, so incredibly well done. We were top damage as support. And I feel tanky, I feel strong, I feel like my abilities actually have substance and matter behind them. I don't know if we can actually end here, but I guess it's okay to try. Again, this is really quite tanky. At 14,000 health, there's just no way this is dying. And he is knockback immune. He actually pre-beats my combo there, so I can't even do it. And unfortunately, we just lose the players, but very well done by the Thor. Damn. I guess we'll just take a reset. And I'm surprised by that. Normally, the Titans kind of fall apart, but this one has some backbone to it. Just going to kind of absorb the scenery for a minute. I mean, you look into the skybox, and it's just such compelling shades of blue. Beautiful. You look at their map, and you can see the entire background, the statue of Poseidon, the statue of Athena. And it's very interesting because I believe Poseidon and Athena are actually not very well acquainted in Greek mythology, but here they are in Smite together, even though they're an unlikely pair. And I think that's sort of an allusion to what Smite is, an unlikely pair. The best mechanics and the best graphics. paired together to create the best MOBA experience. I find that just like kind of sweet, you know? We're going to use a Raven ward here. I really do like these. It kind of just goes across the lane and it uncovers things. I think Smite 1 has really incredible wards. This light blue color is insanely, I think, effective for actually giving a bit of contrast to play with and kind of have wards pop out on the map. The Wukong eventually kills the Agni, as I kind of had a bit of a poor ult, but with such a split fight, I think we're just absolutely going to win it. And a couple of picks happen, and I think this just looks like a game end potential here, maybe. I mean, it's a little bit sketchy to just walk through mid like this, but I do just get a pull on the Sobek for free. With a lot of CC to him. He's not actually going to die just yet, but Shivalanke surely will. And that's so much of their damage that I'm kind of feeling like there has to be something here, no? Yeah, Thor ends up falling down. We have some of a fire wave. And the Titan is completely exposed here. Yeah, it's just one player. I can kind of just tank this, I think, for a decent bit of time. Let's just try to hit this Titan. Again, he doesn't have Sobexum acute, so although it's scary, and he does get a kill, it doesn't give him 25 permanent health. So it's clearly not as threatening. And I think we're just going to stick this Titan. Wow. It's a bit of a burner, but we do end up getting a 10-0-26. And I guess I leave this game asking a lot of questions, not really receiving the best answers. You know, the little interview to Sunday was interesting, but you know, I don't think there's a conclusion. Is there joy to be found in Smite 1? I would say that I found some joy this game. This was pretty enjoyable. It was exciting. It was interesting. I got 40 MMR. And the game just felt very topically paced. This guy was glad he got to play with me. I mean, that's beautiful, right? I mean, look at the positivity that shines through. 29,000 player damage, so we're able to do a ton right there and just kind of be a menace. Like, it was really just an incredible look. So I'm going to thank you guys for watching, and let me know if you want to see more of this game, I suppose. See ya.